I have biracial children. I have a son who is half Mexican, and I have two daughters who are half Black.
So the Department of Homeland Security decided to tweet this today, calling for remigration.
Hi lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us, you guys are the real MVP. So lovelies,
I came across this teaching summary for you, and I thought to share where people are reacting to the fact that this Homeland Security decided to tweet the migrations, like trying to send every other minority group out from the states. And the thing is that this has actually sparked a lot of conversation on the space of social platform. And this happened because of, the Afghan man who decided to Pe.Ple most of the, lovelies. I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational or informative purposes. All right, lovelies, let's dive into it.
I have biracial children. I have a son who is half Mexican, and I have two daughters who are half Black. But even if I did not have biracial children, this would be one of the most concerning things I have ever seen come out of the U.S. government. I came across the Department of Homeland Security post yesterday morning, November 28th, that said that the plan is remigration now. And I did a deep dive into remigration. And I read Project 2025, so I know that the goal of the country for Project 2025 authors is an all-white country, a country that looks like me but doesn't look like my children. And I did a deep dive into remigration, its history and what it means. And I cannot overstate how important it is for us all to become educated on this. I'm doing a series on remigration, and I will put it together in a playlist. I'm going to post them all today because we need to know all of this. But I don't ask you guys often, once in a while, to share this. But please share this for our neighbors of color, for our friends and our family members of color, and for three of my children, that if this policy goes through, could very well be stripped of their American citizenship. Share this, learn, and be on alert. And go love your neighbor.
So the Department of Homeland Security decided to tweet this today, calling for remigration. And if you guys don't know what remigration is, it's essentially a right-wing talking point that calls for immigrants and people of color to go back to their countries of origin. It's picking up steam in places like the United States, Australia, Canada, which coincidentally are all countries where white people are not actually native. They call for everyone to go back home except for themselves. But if we're going to remigrate, you first. Go back to Scotland, go back to Germany, go back to Europe, and see how welcoming these people are towards you. White, but ignorant, monolingual, and uneducated. And then we can talk.
So just this morning, a bunch of MAGA domestic terrorists tried to tell me that I was lying about what Homeland Security said about remigration and tried to deny its racist and white supremacist background. Well, here you go, bitch. I told y'all that the Homeland Security had this on their Twitter page, and you guys wanted to deny it. Now, I know you domestic terrorist filth don't know how to tell the truth, but here's the truth right here.
Sergeant First Class Reginald Knight, retired, reporting. I hope you're having a great Saturday on this Thanksgiving weekend 2025. And I'm up early for good reason. I was provided a video this morning, and I took a look at it, and I thought for a minute, and then all the dots connected, and then the idea clicked. As you may or may not know, if demographic trends continue, that Hispanics will be the majority in the United States by 2050. This is a whole problem with this Heritage Foundation and Trump administration stuff. They are trying to reverse course so that America can stay an all-white majority. So now the Heritage Foundation has come out with this term, method, and they call it remigration. Remigration, in layman's terms, is to return all non-white citizens to their country of origin, whether they were born here, naturalized, or not. And it makes sense to me now that ICE took helicopters and rappelled on roofs in Chicago over the summer, capturing black families and handcuffing them in the dark of night. It makes sense to me now that the narrative that this Afghan who helped American troops in Afghanistan would come all the way from Washington State to DC to commit crimes, unaliving a white girl, which will incense the sensibilities of the D.W. Griffith Birth of a Nation crowd. It makes sense that the Trump administration changed migration policies to favor white South Africans and deny access to everyone else. It makes sense that they are trying to limit these social programs, even though most of them are white. It is an all-out press to keep this republic in the white majority. Now, that's all fine and good, because as I continue to watch the video, these guys are talking about they'll use violence and force and so on and so forth, but there's one little sticking point in all of this. There are millions and millions of veterans like me who have retired from the service, who have been trained not just for conventional warfare, but urban as well. That's going to take some doing. And all the Latino and Hispanic soldiers, airmen, Marines who have fought, bled, and died for this country might have a different opinion on what they are considering. But I want you to be aware of it, because none of this stuff is done in the vacuum. It all makes sense to them. It's all part of the quote unquote secret plan to keep America America. And the fact of the matter is, excuse my French, but I am as American as any motherfucker that ever lived. Okay? This is my home. I could go someplace else and live out my days, but I have sons who have aspirations. And if it comes down to some sort of tussle, I guess I'll expend whatever life I have left here. But I want you to know what they're planning, on how all these things are connecting. And here again, you don't have to believe me. Look at that phrase, remigration, and then follow the links. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's no need to get angry. There's no need to be afraid or anxious, because thinking one thing is fine, but doing it is going to take some doing. Sergeant First Class Reginald Knight, retired, reporting. Have a good Saturday.
There is something deeply, deeply dark being pushed at the highest level of the Trump administration, and you need to pay attention, because they coined a new effed up term and admitted their effed up end goal for an authoritarian United States. So less than 24 hours after 2 National Guard members were tragically shot in the head in Washington, D.C., one passed away, one is still fighting for his life in critical condition, less than 24 hours after, this administration tries to leverage this as an opportunity to use more authoritarian rhetoric, spin this into a broader national emergency that they can use as a pretext to mobilize more National Guard members. Keep in mind, those National Guard members shouldn't have been there in the first place. These were 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds who were told that if they sign up, they get a little bit extra cash and they get to help their hometown if there is a natural disaster or some sort of emergency throughout the state. Never in this was that you have to sign up and then be transferred over to DC to basically act as a police officer. This is a 20-year-old who did not have the training of a police officer, but I digress. Donald Trump is using this as an opportunity to mobilize more 20-year-olds into areas that they didn't grow up in to act as faux police officers. Well, This administration's authoritarian rhetoric got to such a point where they are now admitting that their end goal is something called remigration. This is very serious, very dangerous, and stems from a far right group in Europe that we will talk about in just one moment. The official Homeland Security account on Twitter, not some random troll, not some random far right person. It's not Elon Musk. This is the official Department of Homeland Security government account. They tweeted out these words. This is very important. Quote, "The stakes have never been higher and the goal has never been more clear. Remigration now." Now you may be asking, what is this term remigration? It sounds rather innocuous on its face, but it is incredibly effed up, authoritarian, anti-American. It strips constitutional rights away, it strips human dignity away, and it's disgusting. This says remigration is a European far-right concept of ethnic cleansing via the mass deportation of non-white minority populations, especially immigrants, and sometimes including those born in Europe and holding European citizenship to their place of racial ancestry. So deporting people to their place of racial ancestry if they're not white. Originating in Europe, the concept has spread to the United States and other countries, and it is popular, especially within the identitarian movement. Some proponents of remigration suggest excluding some persons with non-European backgrounds. We're going to visit this in just one second and talk more about this, but let's go back to what the Department of Homeland Security is posting. This has been pushed by Twitter trolls for a while. The farthest of far-right people on Twitter have been pushing this, but now they are pushing a form of remigration that would necessitate stripping constitutional rights and due process away from all non-white citizens of the United States. This is coming from the Homeland Security account, by the way. And either people aren't paying attention or the mainstream media isn't covering this. I personally think a lot of the mainstream media anchors don't fully understand what remigration fully is. They can read this Wikipedia entry, but I've been in these online circles, not participating in them, but my job is being online in politics. So I've seen these online circles where they push this type of far-right rhetoric because I track it, I pay attention to it, I read what they say, and it is some dark stuff. Now, before we go on to these far-right groups in Europe, let me just point out what's happening in the United States. This is not a United States that I want to live in, where we have masked men hopping out of cars. This is some crazy stuff. If you are vaguely Republican or you voted for Trump, which a lot of people who watch the show do, it's fine. It doesn't matter how you voted. Or if you are a conservative or a far-right MAGA Republican, no matter where you lie on the political spectrum, nowhere in America should there be masked men who don't identify themselves, who refuse to show their faces, hopping out of cars and
President Trump just issued this long post about reverse migration. What does this even mean? He's saying that he will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover and terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by Sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country. He's going to end all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country, denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility, and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. Not really sure how all of this is going to actually happen, although there are laws in place that do protect people going through certain processes and protect people through going through processes of denaturalization or reviewing their applications once a benefit has already been given. But as of now, the president seems to want to go back and look at cases of people who've come from certain countries, again, very general, broad term, third world countries. Which countries are included in that, we're not sure. And he wants to re-examine those applications to see whether or not a benefit should have been given to them. So we'll wait to see how all of this plays out.
So I don't know if you guys realize this yet, but the concept of remigration is about to become incredibly common in the West. It's a term that's already pretty commonly used in chronically online political circles, but it's about to hit the normies lexicon. As everybody knows, what the United States of America does at official capacity becomes the conversation globally. If you're unaware as to what remigration means, well, it's essentially a term that means migrants going back to their country of origin. Depending on where you land politically, this term can mean something very different to you and to the next guy. I've been talking about unethical immigration. I've been talking about these terms for a long time, but now that the Department of Homeland Security, President of the United States, has started using it pretty openly, it's going to become common. And I hate to break it to everybody, but this didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen in a vacuum. This isn't because of evil racism or whatever. It's a reaction to unethical immigration. Yes, bad people are going to use it for bad purposes, but to be honest with you, you can't have widespread, unchecked, unethical immigration and not expect some level of
seriously,
pushback.
these people cannot actually wait to show their real color. They can't wait to show their intentions. They can't wait. This has always been their plan. This has always been their plan. Looking for opportunity to bring out a propaganda that have been set aside for a long time. This case is a situation whereby you have executed a plan, like you have planned something that you want to do, and now you're waiting for every little given opportunity to execute that plan. But the thing is that it's not going to work that way. If you want to re-immigrate or whatsoever, that means nobody's going to be in the States. Everybody needs to go back to where they are from. Then the real indigenous people of the land will be the ones to stay, if they want to do it that way. What is all this re-immigration and immigration? I saw a stitch yesterday where I think I stitched the video where people are reacting to the fact that Orange Man was like, okay, they're going to pause immigration right now, especially from the third world country or from the poor country. More specifically, when we talk about poor countries or undeveloped countries and all of that, or third world countries, we all know the vast majority of people who are living in the said developing country. So it's just people of color or black people. That's what this is all about. And now people are like, okay, he wants to pause immigration, but every other developing country can migrate, right? That is to tell you that this statement from this other man that talked about how he wants America to be white again, like he wants America, he doesn't even care. He doesn't even care if it's 10,000 pen-colored Americans, so he doesn't care. So this is to tell you this has always been their plan. And now this re-immigration or whatsoever they call it, it's a process of maybe sending everyone back to their country or sending everyone back to where they come from. So if they are going to start off with this, I think it's hard to every other person. Oh my God. The thing is that these people will just bring up something, tweet something, and try to see if it's something that is going to work out for them. And if it doesn't, they try another trick. So no matter how trickish or no matter how they want to, put it up, it's not going to work out, right? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. What is wrong with these people? What is wrong with them? The thing is that they all started with eyes raiding people. If you're someone of color, a black person, these people go around to embarrass you. The worst part is that even if you're a citizen, they just, there's a particular teacher I saw, this person is a citizen. And this person was like, I am a citizen, I have my passport, I am a citizen. They said they don't care. They don't care. They have to hold this person for so many hours, and after which they still left the person after realizing that this person is actually a citizen. So why are you just going around embarrassing and stopping your own people? All because you think that this person does not have your own kind of skin color, or because you think that this person is a brown or black person. And now that is not enough. Now with this Afghanistan man, I don't know if you guys still remember, the one Afghan man decided to, misbehave, which they are always, and they actually blamed the last administration because of what happened. Majority of them even said that if anything should happen to some of the victims, they should charge the last administration for Pe.Ple, instead of them to actually focus on tackling the real issue. And now they're using that as a means to bring our quote unquote re-immigration. Oh, oh my goodness. Now they want every other person to just go. Like, you are often claiming what is not even rightful yours. If you want to go back in time, like you want to go back, you're also an immigrant, like you can maybe go back to Europe, somewhere in Europe, or Caucasus Mountain, or what have you. That's one thing my grandfather used to say. He said that when you keep on pointing a finger, like one finger at one direction or at someone, in the sense that you are always a saucy person trying to point one finger at someone, without even realizing that the four other fingers that you have is pointing directly back to you. This is exactly what is happening. They are so quick to point fingers. Oh my God, go back to you, blah, blah, blah. But meanwhile, you are also supposed to go back to Europe or go back to anywhere you Caucasus Mountain or whatsoever mountain you come from. Like, this is, oh God, this is just, oh my goodness, lovelies. Anyway, lovelies, wanna just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. When I saw this, I thought that I was just gonna chip it up here. Everyone should be very, very careful. Everyone should be mindful. Like, these guys are just looking for ways to bait people that looks like me one way or the other. But the thing is that black people are still not gonna fall for it. Like, they're not going to fall for it. Okay. Anyway, lovely, so now just leave me your thought in the comment section of what you think of this video, and please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. So, lovely, if you've not subscribed, do your girl a huge favor to click on the subscription button, like, and I will see you, lovelies, when I upload the next one.
Share, and I will see you, lovelies, when I upload the next one.